Hey guys, welcome back to Free Drop Live. Delighted today to be joined by Sunshine Ladies Strokeplay Casandra Hall. Casandra, how are you doing?
Very good, thanks. And yourself?
Good, thank you. What have you been up to the last few weeks since we were allowed to play golf again?
Well, I've definitely been at the golf course. Went to the range to just sort out everything and get the cobwebs out. But been trying to play as much as possible and enjoying just golf being open because obviously we couldn't hit when the lockdown was happening.
No, for sure. What have you found has sort of come back quite quickly, and what aspects of your game have you sort of found it taken a bit longer to get back into the swing of things?
Yeah, well, definitely I kind of see golf as riding a bicycle. So hitting wasn't that difficult to get into. Luckily, I had a little studio I was hitting in with a flight scope, which helped me a lot. So swinging wasn't too bad, but I found putting on a mat definitely impacted my putting a little bit. So just done some work to get it back to where it was, and it seems pretty good now. So yeah, I suppose it just takes a few days just to get into the swing of things again. But yeah, happy where I'm at the moment.
That's epic. And how has COVID sort of wrecked your plans for the year? I mean, what were you hoping to get up to after the Sunshine Ladies Tour season ended?
Yeah, well, definitely. Obviously, I got my card in January, my Ladies European Tour card.
Yeah.
So I was really looking forward to that. I had a great schedule ahead of me, a busy schedule as well. And then we played SA Open, and obviously we went into lockdown, which allowed us not to play tournaments. So it's definitely affected my year, but it's affected everyone's year equally. So it's unfortunate, but the Ladies European Tour have given us the update that we'll be keeping our cards till next year, and we'll still be the rookies of 2021. So that's great for me. And yeah, so now we just got to gain as much experience as possible in this time and make the most of it, and then hopefully come in hot next year and see what we can do, because it looks like the schedule is going to be great again, if not busier due to not having any tournaments. But yeah, we'll have to see when they come out with the schedule, but really looking forward to next year.
So are you actually going across for a bit this year, or what's the vibe?
We're busy planning at the moment. I want to see if I get into the Scottish Open. They sent us emails I think today, and they'll send us some more emails tomorrow to find out what's finalized. But I'm looking at going over to the UK in about 2 weeks' time. There's the Clutch Tour going on there, which is the ladies and the men's playing. They have the UK Pro Tour 2020. They've got that going on. The Justin Rose series, if I can make it in time that side, because unfortunately we're going to have to quarantine. But yeah, definitely something we're looking at doing, trying to get over there as soon as possible, because there's no point sitting back here. There's no tournaments. There's nothing going on here besides golf. Yeah. So the sooner we can get there, the better. Obviously, quarantine's unfortunate, but we're just going to have to bite the bullet and take it from there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough situation, but sort of chatting let's sort of chat about your story a bit, and how you got into the game and your general upbringing, if you would mind sort of providing a bit of insight into that.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people have quite a nice story about how they started golf and their dad brought them into the game when they were 3 and all that. Mine isn't exactly like that. My mom was engaged to a guy that played golf. He introduced me to the game, bought me my first club, and I started going to the range. And eventually my mom and the guy broke up, and my mom asked me, do you still want to continue? And I said, definitely, I'd love to. And we kind of took it from there, playing SA Kids tournaments, from there going on to WGSA tournaments. And yeah, then eventually it just became my career somehow. So yeah, but I grew up playing a lot of sports. I wasn't very good in the classroom, but I passed. But I was really good at sports. I loved sports. I loved the team factor, the working hard physically and mentally. And yeah, I really enjoyed my hockey. It wasn't really a tough choice, but hockey was it was an option, I could say. But there isn't really a future for ladies hockey players financially, because you'd still have to work, and that's what I didn't want. But I really enjoyed the game. The team aspect of it was fantastic. The hard work, training sessions, being fit. That's what I love about sport, is the whole aura about it and all that. So yeah.
Sure. And athletics, I read that you also a provincial athlete. I got that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was strange. I was very good at. I was always a very much stronger girl than most ladies. I think it's also from being a sportswoman my whole life. That was my game. Asked me to study maths and not really my game. So yeah, I was good at athletics. We had a school athletics day. I think in grade 8, we did some javelin and discus, and it was the first time I ever did it. And I gave it a go, and I did really well. I broke records or something like that, and they decided to take me on to, I think you call it district something, to get through to your provincials. And I don't know, I just made it through. I went to one lesson with the coach that was at the school, and he said, do this, and I did that, and then that's how it ended up. So it wasn't really something very big for me. It wasn't like I saw a coach and took it very seriously, but it was just something I was good at, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, you hop on the bus with all your friends, you're out of class early, grab a burger on the way, go sit at the athletics field. As long as you're not in the classroom, it's great. So that was athletics for me.
Yeah. So at least it wasn't really, a tough choice between should you pursue athletics or should you go the golf route. So I suppose it's quite nice that it was pretty easy to decide.
Definitely. But as I got older, I started cutting away more sport, because when I was young, I was doing a lot of sport: netball, hockey, golf, soccer, everything.
Geez, okay.
And then as I got older, my mom said, you don't have time for this anymore. Now you've got to start deciding. It was tough choices for me at the time. But yeah, that's kind of how I went on. And then eventually in grade 11, I was only playing hockey and golf because school took up so much time, and it was so difficult from there. So from there, it was easy to make the choice. Because it's a choice I was making after so many years.
Are you grateful for the fact that you did play a bit of team sport growing up? Like you said, you played netball and stuff, and obviously hockey as well. Like, are you grateful that you had that element as well, rather than just having golf be your core focus?
Definitely, because golf is such an individual game. Although the more I play it, the more I don't think it's so individual, because it's about your team instead of like you shape your team, is how I see golf. It's not just you by yourself. You wouldn't be there if your caddy wasn't so good, and your coach and your sponsors and all that. But I mean, from the personal team aspect, I loved it. Just playing with other people, having to work together instead of against each other was fantastic. It taught me a lot of life lessons as well. Taught me a lot of people skills and things like that. So I definitely, and I loved it so much. I mean, not many, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that didn't like me on the hockey field. I injured a few people, but I mean, just the whole team aspect and everyone looking the same, wearing the same things, all warming up the same. It's like a different feeling. It's really cool. And especially in my later high school years, that was really fun, because our first team was really good. They were right up there. And we got an Astro at the school and all that. We all had the same bags and our names and our numbers and our locker rooms. It was like things you see on the movies. It was unbelievable. I think it was the closest to like American school you'll get, because it was that aspect. Like, it was amazing.
And how much time did you have to sort of practice and play golf during the term and during school?
I made a lot of time. So I would stay up late, not to do homework, but just so I could practice in the day. So basically my regular day at school would be, obviously, wake up in the morning. I did a little bit of exercise some days, head to school, get the school day finished at about 2:15. Then I'd head to hockey practice for an hour, go to golf until like 6 o'clock when the sun goes down, come home, eat some food, and then do some homework and go to gym. I went to gym actually after golf. So maybe 6 to 7, I went to gym, and from there started homework. So I sacrificed a lot of time. Also a lot of social life. Don't get me wrong, I had a social life in high school. But it was a lot of sacrifice. If there were parties that you really wanted to go to, but you couldn't because you have an IPT coming up that you need to prepare for, that was things you sacrificed, like every sportswoman and sportsman. So that was definitely a factor, but I think I balanced it well. I'm sure my mom and many teachers would say I was more interested in sports than I was in the classroom, but I was looking towards my future. Like a lot of people say, oh, wow, golfers do so well. I want to be a golfer. How do I start? And like, I've been doing this for 11 years. This is years of sacrifice and hard work and hard work and sacrifice, I guess you could say. So, it was tough balancing act, but after a couple years, it got easier, especially me cutting away more sports. So if I was playing netball, athletics, hockey, and golf, and I took athletics out, that extra time would go to golf. It wouldn't go to hockey, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was always prioritized.
And it clearly paid off because you won Junior Golfer of the Year 3 years in a row for Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. Sure, it was a while back.
Must be nice when you've achieved so much that you can't actually really, things just sort of, achievements just sort of blur.
Definitely not that. It's just bad memory.
Yeah, it's quite a while ago as well. But can you at least sort of remember some of the sort of highlights that helped you reach those sort of levels?
Definitely, the older I got, the more mature I got on the golf course. Definitely. When I was younger, I used to have little tantrums like everyone does, and at a certain age, you start to grow up. So people say, like, I tell people my age, they can't believe it. They're like, "How are you so mature?" But my mom, because she's a single mom, she always taught me you got to be independent, you got to do your own thing, and I kind of took that with me wherever I went, whether it was the golf course, the hockey field, anywhere. So I worked really hard to get those things done, and obviously Robbie helped me out. When I went to go see Robbie, I was in 11 handicap, and my mom said, if you really enjoy this, let's go see this coach and see if we can take it to the next level. Because the coach before that, his name was Henny Duplessis. He basically taught me how to hold a golf club. I've only had 3 coaches my whole life. So he taught me how to hold the golf club and everything. And eventually we said to him, I think we're going to go see Robbie Stewart and see what we can do. And he was very happy about that. He had no problem at all. Saw Robbie, and Robbie told me a lot of things. Rob's been on the tour for a long time. He's met a lot of people, been through a lot of experiences. So that definitely helped me. And then also a lot of memories come from IPTs, working as a team, also all dressing the same, giving each other advice, the foursomes, and, meeting all the girls and chatting to them was really awesome growing up with that. So, yeah, that's a lot of memories I've had. But, when you're young, everything's competitive. Well, that's how I was, because I was such a big sportswoman. So when you have your friends, you always want to beat them. And that's what makes you better. You need that competitiveness to get to the next level.
Who were the girls that you grew up competing against, and who would you say sort of helped you take your game to the next level?
Oh, Nicole, if I have to say the story, Nicole Garcia might laugh at me. So my fondest memory it was my first IPT ever, and it was Nicole's last IPT before she turned pro. Okay. So shame, she got paired with a new girl, and that was me. It was my first one. I was so nervous, I was the youngest, and I still remember we playing. I think it was at PE. It was so funny when I won, because this is the exact memory I remembered when I won Strokeplay there, because it was the same golf course. And anyway, so she said, okay, on this hole, we're playing foursomes, you take the tee box. And I said, it looks like I'm going to hit it on the water on the right, because it was a par 3. She says, just take your 7-iron and hook it. So Cass takes the ball, hits it, shanks it in the water. She says, don't worry, it's fine. We've still got a few more days. I'm like, a few more days? And I've still got this tee shot. Like, damn, okay. Next day we come back. She says, whatever you do, don't hit it right. Where did I hit it? In the water. And Shane, she gave me a lot of advice from that as well, how to picture a shot differently and things like that. So Nicole wasn't somebody I really competed against in amateur circuit. It was more like somebody I looked up to, because I was not at her level when she was there. She was right at the top, and I was just beginning, basically. But the girls I competed with, let me think now. I can name some of the girls in the Ekurhuleni team. I was with Sarah Bouch, Kaylin McNabb, Kira Floyd came in towards the end, Carmen Talia, they were all in my team, and Tegan Lubber, she was in the Ekurhuleni team. And then some of the girls from the other teams was Zetu Miyeki, Simone Henriques, Kajal Mystery, Ivana. I actually competed with Ivana a lot. So those are the girls I played with, and we grew up playing with and all that. So we learned a lot of lessons from them, and I'm sure they learned from me, and the way things went. It was just basically a learning curve for everyone.
So I was chatting to Nicole earlier today, and she told me that according to your mom, you had a photo of her up in your bedroom when you were growing up. Is that a thing, or is it a bit of
I think I must have. Yeah, I'm sure I did. Nicole
that's
was the
pretty cool then.
bee's knees. Like, she still is the bee's knees, but I mean, that was somebody I really looked up to, because also because she came from the same hometown as me, and the fact that somebody could get to that level coming from where I am was something that I resembled a lot with. So that was definitely somebody I really looked up to.
Perfect. And just sort of chatting a bit more team golf. You played in that South African team that played in the All Africa Challenge in 2018, and you guys won by a landslide, I think 14 or something. What are your fondest memories of that week?
Wow, that was a cool trip. I went down with Zetum and Lananda, and I wouldn't say we were very close friends before we left. Like, all of us were like, okay, why she here? And as soon as we got to the airport, we all just clicked. So it was so awesome. What a cool tournament. I mean, it's all about culture, and I mean, the king from Ghana came to the ceremony. It was really all about the different countries, and Ghana showed us a lot of their traditions and the way they do things, the food they eat, some funky things, but they showed us what it was like. And I don't know, it was very personal as well. When you walked in, we all wearing our blazers, and they're playing the national anthem and all that. It was really cool how they made each country feel special. So that was great. The girls played great as well. We prepared very well for it. We were there a few days early. We could play practice rounds that weren't rushed. We didn't, because the tournament's only every 4 years. It's not like we had the pressure of last year the South African girls won. We can't let them down. So it was so much fun. We just went out there, no expectations, just play for fun and enjoy it. And the ladies there were very impressed with our golf as well. There's some older ladies there that play. They play every year. It's like, or every 4 years. It's like the Olympics for them. They loved it. Like, they go there just for the party, and the golf's just a bonus. And they were like, wow, you really have a future. And for somebody that's been in the game for so long from a different country, it means a lot. But what a cool trip. I really loved it. The girls I went with were great. We all got along so well. Really cool trip. I loved it.
Yeah, that's epic. And did you have Val Holland as your sort of coach as well, or not?
No, I haven't had Val Holland.
Oh, that's awkward then. Moving on.
I like her. She's a very good coach. And I've spent some time with her. When I was on the national team for 100 years ago, she helped me out a lot. Really, really nice.
Okay, you see, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking of, actually. But chatting about your victory at the SA Strokeplay at PE, that was obviously well after your Interprov debut. So how did you cope with that dreaded par 3?
Oh, actually, I laughed as soon as I played practice round, and I said, whatever you do, don't hit in the water, and I didn't. So that was I just got over that hurdle as soon as I didn't hit in the water. But interesting tournaments. I mean, funny story. I went there and I was very sick a week and a half before that. So I wasn't on the range and I wasn't really practicing and all that. And I went there. It was the first time my fiance traveled with me. So I was a bit nervous. I was like, what if we have an argument, or what if we go to bed late because he's bored, or what if he doesn't want to walk the golf? You know, like that, that you don't know what to expect. And the same for the golf, because I was so sick. It was like, I was dreading it, because I was like, well, there's that par 3, and now I don't even know how I hit the golf ball. But as soon as we landed there, I had a funny feeling, like everything went well. My flight wasn't delayed. My golf bag was there. We rented the car. Everything was good. So I was like, well, this is a good start. And I played practice round. The wind was howling, and I hit the ball very high. So back in the day when I was in AMI, I just couldn't play in the wind. Luckily, I've tackled it now, which is great. But I really battled in the wind. And I remember, Adrian always laughs at this. I was putting after my practice round, and one of my friends, Bianca, came to me and she was like, Cass, I haven't seen you for a while. What's the biggest tournament you've won? And I laughed. I said, this one, and laughed and walked away, because I hadn't won a tournament and I felt like an idiot. So anyways, we carried on playing and actually ended up winning it. She's like, "How did you know?" I was like, "No, that was a fluke. That was definitely a fluke." But yeah, regarding the golf, I had no expectations going there. So whether if I was on the tee box and there was water right, if I hit it right, it didn't really matter because I didn't feel unprepared, but I didn't feel very prepared. I didn't have any expectation or any pressure on myself. And that's what actually made me play great. So first day, I think I shot 4 under or something like that. But I just enjoyed it. I didn't even look at the scorecard. I was just playing. And at the end of it, I was like, wow, okay, 4 under, I'll take that one. And then I think it was 36 holes, if I'm not mistaken. And second day, wind came up, and then Cass panics because she can't play in the wind. And all I said to myself was just hold it together somehow, get a good top 5, maybe even try win it finish, and just hold yourself together. And had a shocker round and ended up going into the playoff. And then something took over me because I don't remember what I did there. I remember hitting the bunker, and I got to the bunker and I was like, oh my goodness, this is an impossible bunker shot. So it was kind of like a hit and hope. Hit it like 2 foot from the hole in the playoff. I was like, wow, this is cool. Like, I don't know what's happening, but let's go. And I dropped the putt, second hole tee off. I pulled my drive left, but in that previous round, I was in the same place. So I knew exactly what to do because in the tournament, my ball pitched and bounced left. So I knew it was going to do the same thing. So I hit it, and I had more or less the same putts as well from what I had from my second round. Obviously, this one was for birdie, another one was for par. And Kajal had the same putt, but just behind me. And she hit her putt, and it like just lipped out and went about a meter behind the hole. And I was like, okay, Cass, now you got to really pull something out the bag. Yeah, you've had this putt. Pick the line and hit and hope for the best. And ball went in. I was like, what just happened? Like, you know, I didn't even celebrate. I was like, what just happened?
You're sort of in shock.
Yeah, like completely, especially getting to the tournament. You know, you haven't practiced, you know, this, you're not expecting to even get a top 10, and you win the damn tournament. And then only after you win the tournament do you realize it's one of the biggest ones on the amateur circuit. It's not like Ekurhuleni Open, for example. It's like the big one. So that was a big shocker for me, a big eye opener. I think it taught me how to win on the amateur circuit, because from there things got better. I started winning a few small tournaments and things like that. Gained a lot of confidence, and mentally I was prepared better, saying, let's practice, but let's go in with no expectation and play that way, because that clearly worked for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my SA Open experience. I mean, SA Strokeplay.
Maybe that's open. Maybe you're going to win the SA Open next year. Never know.
That would be great.
So my first question next is, do you always speak in the third person? And because you seem to say Cass doesn't play well in the wind, and Cass doesn't do this, Cass doesn't do that. Do you always, is that like one of your...
when I'm talking about golf, I do, because I look
like
I look at it how I'm sitting here watching
like
it.
Externally,
Yeah, exactly.
And secondly, like, I know you mentioned you weren't really focused on your score in those initial rounds, and then only at the end did you realize whatever you had shot. Has that sort of translated into your professional career as well? Like, are you a big sort of scoreboard watcher or not really?
It definitely has. I think everyone's a scoreboard watcher, even if they say they're not, they're looking. But I'm not like, oh, where's the scoreboard? What's happening?
Yeah.
I more or less know what I'm on, and if there's a board, I'll have a look. But I'm not like, oh, where's the scoreboard? I have to see it, and I'm not like pretending that it's not there, you know.
Sure.
So yeah, it doesn't really bother me. I think, I don't know, I haven't been like first and second place coming down the last day in Sunshine Tour, so maybe then I'd be like, where's the board?
But that said, you have had quite a few sort of close calls on the tour the last couple of years, particularly in 2019. Were you quite surprised by how quickly you made that transition, or not really?
I did a lot of work before I turned pro. So before I turned pro, I prepared myself. I looked at the girls and I said, the way I see it anyways, is from amateur golf, I had a different caddy on the bag every week, different country, or not different country, different province and all that. And the way I saw it was professional golfers just taking that next level up. So I made sure I'm working hard with my coach. I made sure I've got a good caddy. I had a lot of time beforehand, before I actually signed the paper that said, you're now a professional. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of work, because like I said, golf, you need that team. So I had my sponsors. I had to see what they would say, because I was sponsored by Strixon as an AMI. Turning into pro doesn't mean they're just going to sign you on. And they were keen to jump ahead. So that was great. I found myself a great caddy, Charles. He still caddies for me now in South Africa. And I got myself a mental coach. I actually got myself a mental coach just before tour school. It wasn't even my first year. But then once again, turning pro, you're the underdog. Nobody knows your name. You go there and you say, okay, well, I'm Casandra. This is what I can do. And no expectation, just do what you can do best, and hope for the best as well. And it worked out well for me. And from there, that just sparked me wanting to work harder, invest in myself more. Because people also don't realize how much professional golfers actually invest, even amateur golfers invest in themselves. I mean, you have your physio, you have your mental coach, you have your swing coach, you have your short game coach, you have a physio, you have the biokineticist, you know what I mean? And it seems to be the more I'm investing in myself, like, yes, maybe the physio is costing me so much money a month, and it's not actually taking 5 shots away from my game, but actually it is unconsciously not recognizing it. The more I invest in myself, the better I'm playing, and the stronger the team's getting. So yeah, I think that's why I transitioned very well. But also, it was so great. I didn't have school. I had so much time for golf. I had time for myself. I had time to recover. I had time to go to the gym and work hard, and that was the best for me. There's no school.
So I take it playing college golf in the States wasn't an option, or wasn't something that was on your mind?
It definitely was. So in grade 11, I played my best golf and I had my best schoolwork, but it was a hectic year. Like, I think I'm still recovering from grade 11. I worked really hard to try and get my marks up to get into a college in America. And then I got a few offers, and matric kind of was like my midlife crisis, but realization. So matric, I wasn't playing many tournaments. My schoolwork was rubbish. I was going out with friends, and it was kind of like my release, all that stuff I sacrificed the years before. I kind of soaked up in matric. And it was a good year for me. I think I needed it. I needed it to realize and take a step back and say, now it's time to work. Either decide what you want to do. And it was a big decision for me. Do I go to the States and study like everyone else does? Which is a great option. It's not a bad option at all. But I decided to stay and turn pro, give away my amateur status. And then obviously my mom wasn't very happy about this, because we had been talking about going to college in America for so many years, and that's what she expected. And I turned pro, and I said to her, let's see how the first year goes. And then I can always study here in South Africa while being a pro. It's not the end of the world. So she was like, okay, let's see. And I played my first 2 tournaments, and I think she was shocked to see how well I actually adapted. Because not everyone does. Some people take time to transition into professional life. And then I started playing better and better. And then she said, are you going to study? Are you going to study? And I said, well, at the moment, no. Especially after Sunshine Tour ended last year, because I had those few months off. She was like, are you going to study? I said, I need this time to prepare for European Tour School, because I'm going. Like, I've got the confidence. When you feel like you're ready for something? That's how I felt for Tour School. I didn't necessarily feel I was going to get my card. The odds are really against you going there. I hadn't traveled international since 2018, and this was now 2020, beginning of 2020. So it was a tough one for me. And then when I got my card, my mom hasn't mentioned studying yet, so I'm quite happy at the moment.
Long may that last, eh? But I mean, have you got any friends that actually went that route and have gone to the States and actually quite enjoying it? And does that make you feel like you had all missed out, or not really?
I do have a few friends that have been there. Kajal, for example, she's there. She's having an absolute blast. She's also good at school, so that might be a reason to it as well. Sometimes you do feel like you're missing out, but like I said, my mom made me very independent from a young age. So in matric, I went all out, joining with my friends and all that, and then I got over it. Like, I hardly drink now as it is. And sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm missing out on the party. I didn't miss out on the schooling or anything like that. It's like the parties and the people you meet and things like that. But then also realize, I have 4 years experience on a pro tour compared to the girls that have gone there. And that's their choice. That's fine. It was an option for me as well that I wanted to do, and obviously turned away from it. So sometimes you miss out on it. You feel like you miss out on it. But at the moment, I don't, because all the people they're meeting there, I'm meeting international girls on Ladies European Tour and coming for Sunshine Tour and things like that. So there's pros and cons to every situation. I'm very happy with my choice. It was a very tough choice at first. I thought like what do I do? My life can go 2 different directions with whatever choice I do take. But very happy with my decision. So I think I'll stick to it and leave studying on the side.
But it's cool that you had that realization that jawling and going out with your mates isn't the be all and end all of life. It's cool that you realized that then in matric, rather than when some of us only have that realization in like 2 years or 3 years into varsity, and by then the GPA is gone and everything's just sort of got a bit pear-shaped. But tell me about European Tour School and what that experience was like, and how you felt your game measured up to the sort of, I don't know, European standard, or I suppose international standard.
Definitely. Well, the biggest change for me from tour school compared to any other tournament was 2 months before I left for Q school. Okay, I prepared, like, I could not have hit one more chip or one more putt to be more prepared for tour school than what I was. So that I was happy about, because I even said to Rob, I said, I don't care how tired I am when I get there. I don't care how hard we have to work, but I don't want to get there and say, oh, did I hit enough? Did I go the range enough? What if I played that extra day? What if I did 9 holes? What if we did a session? I wanted to get there and be like, okay, boom, I'm here. Let's do it. Yeah. So that mentally, I was ready, but also physically, my game was very, very good. 2 months before Q school, I started seeing Mark Fairbank. He's my mental coach, and he changed my whole perspective on the game for the good, and also made me realize how many positives I have in my mental game that I didn't even know or recognize. So that was a big change for me, and he prepared me mentally well, but he made me mentally prepare physically well for it, if that makes sense. When I woke up every morning, I woke up with a purpose, and I worked so hard for Q school. If I tell you my daily routine of before tour school for months and months, you'd probably cry and say, how are you alive? Because it was crazy. Luckily, my fiance was here supporting me, making me push through those tough days. And obviously, he went with me to Spain, which helped a lot. He washed clothes for the first time ever in Spain. He cooked me meals. It was crazy. But we prepared so well for it. And the final day of Q school was kind of like SA Strokeplay. I had that same feeling, like you're numb but nervous, but you just something takes over your body. But I was mentally prepared for that happening, where SA Strokeplay I wasn't. So I was able to recognize those nervous things that I would do beforehand, before hitting the ball, or choices I'd make. That was my difference for Q school. I literally couldn't have prepared better for it.
And I don't know, I suppose some people, if they prepare meticulously, then they think, oh, flip, what if it's not enough, but what if it's in vain type of thing? You go to all of that effort, and then let's say you miss out on a card by 1 or 2 or whatever. Did that cross your mind at all? Or were you just
it did. It did. That's what I spoke to Mark about before I went. I said, what if we pay all this money and work so damn hard to go there and not get it? And he said, well, there's 300 girls there and 20 are getting their cards. So more people that's going to happen to than not. So prepare yourself for worst case scenario. Go there with experience. But the big thing he said to me that changed my whole perspective on it was, go there and don't say, I have to get a card. I can't leave here without a card. Firstly, he said to me, you're 19, turning 20, going to Q school. These girls are 26. They're trying to make a living here. You have no pressure. Like, no pressure at all. If you don't get your card, what's going to happen? You're going to play Sunshine Tour and go get your card next year. What difference does it make? 1 year delay is not going to change your life drastically. You have so many years on most of those girls. So that was the first factor that changed my mindset. But also, like I said earlier, he said to me, these girls don't know who you are. They literally don't know anything about you. They probably don't even know your surname nor your first name. So go there and say, this is who I am. I'm Casandra Hall. Look how far I hit my drive. Look how well I putt. I am a force to be reckoned with. And I've worked very hard to be here. So I'm going to give it my all. And if it's not enough, it's not enough for this year. And if you beat me, for example, or you get your card, congratulations to you. That means you're ready. Everything happens for a reason.
Sure.
So his mindset that he gave me was, just show them who you are, do your best, prepare as well as you can, and what more can you do? If you don't get your card, it's not like your whole world's going to explode. It's just you got to take the knock on the chin and go from there. And I think that changed a lot. It took a lot of pressure off of me mentally, but also physically. When you're stressed, you don't work the way you're supposed to.
Yeah. So it's interesting you mentioned how far you hit the ball. I mean, I was looking at your stats in preparation for the interview. I mean, it's quite ridiculous. And would you say that is certainly in those initial years of playing the game? Would you say your length is what your game was built on, and it sort of evolved over time, or what would you say were the strengths when you were growing up until now?
Definitely, length has always been a huge advantage for me. It's not something I really work on. It's not like I go and swing hard to try to get my swing speed up. But like I mentioned earlier, when I was younger, I was always very strong compared to the girls. I have huge shoulders, so I think that helps me in my golf swing. But also, I always enjoyed training. When people were studying, I was outside doing push-ups. That was fun for me. So that was definitely a factor. But distance now is still definitely an advantage. It's something that's been built up. But it's also like a threatening factor. You get that girl that will try hit it past you and sacrifice her score just to hit it past you. I don't mind if someone drives it past me. It is just a huge advantage for me. It allows me to go for a lot of par fives, and I love that I hit the ball far.
No, it seems like, I mean, I've interviewed yourself, Ivana, Cara Gole as well, and between the three of you, you seem to be pretty pumped with how far you guys all hit it. But I'm curious, who hits it the furthest of the three of you? I don't know how much golf you played
here's the story.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Yeah. Cara was in the States when Ivana and I were at the top amateurs, always competing.
Yeah.
It was a mission to beat her, and wow, she was really a top player, and she hit the ball really, really far. But we had that competition. Like, I think she's the only person that can say, if she hit the ball past me, I was upset. Like, I think she's the only person that can say that. Like, I always had to hit it past her. And it was something that went on for a while. But I definitely hit it further than her now. And Cara definitely hit it much further than Cara.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. I think to be more precise, I think your average driving distance this last season was 257, and I think hers was 242. So that is quite a difference there. Hopefully she's not watching this. I'm sure she isn't actually. But
no, I think she knows. I don't want to sound arrogant.
No.
I've only played, to be honest, I think I've only played 2 rounds with Cara. So I wouldn't even know. Yeah.
What do you feel you need to do, just sort of shifting back to the Sunshine Ladies Tour, what do you think the difference is between those close calls, the seconds, the thirds, the fifths, and winning? Where do you think that difference lies?
Well, not for example, actually what happened. So first year Sunshine Tour, I did really well, no expectations, but I was also a rookie. I didn't know how to win. I didn't know how to prepare well for these tournaments. So a rookie means you're new to things, you don't understand, you learn as much as possible. That's what rookie year is. And then, unfortunately for me, 2020 SLT was tough because I'd just come back from tour school. For example, like Nobby, I don't know how she did it, but she flew back she flew back 2 days earlier than what I did. And she played the Cape Town Open and she did well. And I missed that tournament. And I got home and I was buggered. Tour school was, how many rounds did we play? 14. 12 or 14 days in a row, 18 holes. Because I played two practice rounds on 2 different golf courses. So there's 4 rounds. Then it was 4 rounds of tournaments. So we're on 8 already, and that's first stage. Then I played 9 holes on each course. Well, I think 18 in total. So that's 10 rounds, and then 5 rounds of golf for final stage. So when I got back, like, you're still hyped up. I just got my card. 80's like, let's go for dinner. You're still hyped up. But then when you get home and you lie in your own bed, that's when everything hits you, you know. All the adrenaline's gone and all that. The flights were long. I couldn't sleep. So that was hectic. And then when you get home, your whole family wants to celebrate and you're like, just leave me alone. I just want to sleep. So that obviously happened. And then next minute, you've rested for 1 day and you've got 4 days before tournaments. One's a practice round and one's driving down. So you get 2 days to rest before Sunshine Tour at Sun City. By then I was so tired. I've just come back from, like, I think it was like maximum of 8 degrees in Spain at the time, coming from 32 in Joburg, go to 8 degrees there and then come back to Sun City at like 35 degrees. So my body definitely took a hit. Mentally, I gave it everything I had at tour school. I needed like 2 weeks to rest. I know that sounds crazy, but you just need to switch off, and it takes a couple of days to switch off. So Sun City was a disaster for me. And then obviously SA Open was my first European tour event. So that was what I was focused on. So I prepared nicely for that. I also played well at Glendower. That was before. I think Glendower was before SA Open. Played nicely there. It was my home course. I'd rested. I'd taken the time I needed. I got some work in as well. You know, golf courses are different in different countries. Like, the grass was different. And I was in Spain for 3.5 weeks. So that was home for 3.5 weeks. So coming home, getting used to it, getting used to the weather, taking a chill out, you know, eating your normal food again, all the travel things. And then I played nicely at Glendower, which gave me a big boost for SA Open. So I wouldn't say I had the best opportunity to win an SLT this year, but let's see what happens next year. If we work really hard, maybe it's our turn.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like it. I mean, literally everyone I've chatted to about you says that you know, you're definitely one to watch going forward. But yeah, I mean, just sort of shifting back to Q School. Sorry, I'm sort of like jumping around a bit, but you know, what is it like having to prepare and sort of learn multiple courses at Q School? Is it like quite tricky? How do you find you adjust to new courses like that?
Yeah, so the way I looked at Q School was, because you have the pre-Q round. So how Tour School works is you have, I think, 300 girls coming through or something like that, and you play pre-Q, and 60 girls, the top 60 from pre-Q, go to final stage. Now, whether you win pre-Q or you come 60th in pre-Q, it doesn't put you in a different position for final. So the way I looked at pre-Q is, I think I was lying 2nd or 3rd after pre-Q, and I was like, wow, I really impressed myself here. So take that confidence, but as bad as it sounds, use it as a practice round. So if I hit a terrible chip, then I'd write down on my notes, it turns this way, you know, prepared as much as possible for final stage, because that's where it counts. I was lying 3rd with like 2 days to go. I had to really pull something crazy out the bag to miss the cut. And that's how I looked at it, because I had pre-Q was 4 rounds and I played 2 practice rounds. So I had 6 rounds on top of the girls that were still coming from all over for final stage. So that's how I looked at it. And I did take a day in between resting. That day didn't have, the weather was terrible before pre-Q. It was so cold, it was raining, it was windy, it was terrible. And that was my day off. So their practice round was terrible, which was an advantage for me. It's just one of those things. So that's how I took it. I'm also very good at reading golf courses. And obviously over the years, you learn how to do your yardage book well and all that, and prepare. But I also went early to Spain. I went, I think, 10 days before. So I was even prepared for pre-Q really well. So that was good.
So it sounds like you plan meticulously. You make a lot of notes on the golf course, but not many. Doesn't sound like you made too many during school.
Yeah, no, definitely not. See, I can tell you what I hit on Glendower 2 years ago, but ask me what I just read in the maths book and I'll be blank. It's just things you have interest in. I definitely
100%. What subjects did you take at school out of interest?
Jeez, I know I took business. That was my favorite.
Okay.
Consumers, which is home economics, cooking. Yeah. If I wasn't a professional golfer, I'd probably study to be a chef, no joke. So that was super fun. And I took biology and passed it just. Thanks to Sarah Bouch. Thank you, Sarah. I passed it because she taught me about the heart.
And I'm sure you're going to have to put those cooking skills to use when you go to Europe.
Definitely.
Sort of minimize costs, because it sounds like it's quite wild from an expense standpoint. It sounds like it's quite a hectic outlay.
Definitely. I travel different to other girls though. I know a lot of girls take the cheaper route essentially, which is like a hotel or a bed and breakfast, and then you get takeaways. I like traveling with the kitchen because I have quite a strict diet. My fiance is a bodybuilder, so you can't go to a place that doesn't have a kitchen, which has been a huge bonus for me because essentially staying in a little place with a kitchen is more expensive from the accommodation point of view, but from the food point of view, it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot healthier. You can cook your own things. I think before teeing off, if you're having like eggs or a protein shake or whatever, is a lot better than having a pie before going into a big tournament and things like that. And nutrition plays a huge role. When you're a professional, you look at everything. You look at your equipment, you look at nutrition, you look at your body, you look at your conditioning, your mobility, flexibility. Everything comes into play because it's such small things that define crazy good players to the average professional player. So yeah, I travel very differently. Some would say more expensive, but I would definitely say smarter because I think food's very important. I went to India in 2016 for women's golf, and I battled because their food is so hot, and I don't do hot food. And you also drain because you don't want to eat their food, so you rather not eat, and then you're just physically drained. You need to be. Yeah, like you said earlier, I prepare really well for a tournament. That means food. That means is there gym close? Everything. You take everything into consideration, which I think is a great thing because you don't want to pull out of the tournament because you got food poisoning from eating at a restaurant or something like that. So you got to make use of every opportunity.
Yeah. So what do you think of Bryson DeChambeau's new diet?
I think he's going to hurt his back and not be able to play.
100%. 100%.
All he's doing is trying to get fat so he has more weight behind the ball, which is, if that's his goal, he's doing well at this stage. But you're hitting the ball so much further than everyone else. Why try to do it more and more that you're actually going to injure yourself?
Yeah.
But I think he's an idiot trying to look for attention, and he seems to be getting it, and he's getting the results he wants for now. But in 3 years' time, when he can't play golf because his back's buggered, then I'd like to see what he says.
It's weird because he does sort of try and put on that facade of being someone that has it all figured out, like all 7 iron lengths.
So hard and,
I don't know. It's weird. You'd think that after seeing what's happened with Tiger, like Oaks would be like, cool. Well, we've got to rethink the way we do things, not go too hard.
Especially training. Tiger trained hard back in the day, and that might have been what hurt his back, essentially. But like the way Bryson's training isn't. There's a difference between training hard and a difference between training smart. So if he wants to hit the ball further, be my guest. But it's also about longevity. You know what I mean? Tiger only hit him later on. So I don't know. All the best for him. It's his philosophy that's he's going for. So yeah, his diet seems terrible. Just protein shakes everywhere and eats as much calories and I always say food brings you more nutrition than any shake can. Would you rather eat a chicken breast or would you rather drink a terrible protein shake? I drink protein shakes, don't get me wrong. It's easy
Sure.
and efficient, especially on the golf course and things like that. But it doesn't mean you have to replace food with protein shakes. Maybe have one or max 2 a day, but you still have to eat food. I'm quite clued up on the nutrition because of Adrian over
Yeah.
here. He's helped me out a lot, but also growing up being a sportswoman, you got to like put your act together, and if you're going to be good at it, be really good at it rather than take shortcuts.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, like it certainly does free you up to play good golf if you know exactly what you're eating, rather than eating something weird from a restaurant that you're not 100% sure of what's going on there. But
Definitely.
yeah, so I mean, what are your goals for the year ahead? Because obviously, well, the rest of the year rather, because obviously it is so sort of it's a bit wrecked. So is it just a case of getting experience, sort of finding your feet on different courses, and then really sort of ramping it up next year, or like what's your thinking?
So I haven't traveled and played overseas for a while.
Mm.
It's only been, well, when last 2019, 2018 was the last time I went overseas, and that was Ghana. I've been to the UK and played there, and on the Ladies European Tour, there's quite a few events in the UK. And the last time I was there was 2012. So mostly just gaining experience. You know, in the UK, there's links, there's wind, it's cold. So like learning how to play in that, how the different grass is, the way you respond. You know, you don't want to go somewhere and you like absolutely clueless and you're just basically winging it as best you can. So it's just about gaining experience. Currently, there's nothing going on in South Africa. If I stay here for 3 months or go to the UK for 3 months, I can tell you I'm going to get a lot more done there, even with being in 3 weeks of quarantine. So I think we're going to go that side and play some tournaments, keep everything going. Because at the moment, you play, there's no tournaments. You hop on the cart, go hit your next shot. You're not really going through all your processes and preparing for it and things like that. And it sounds hectic, but I mean, you do lose that because it's like the new normal then for you. So I'd like to go that side. I think if I don't, I'll definitely fall behind because I know all the other rookies are that side busy playing. So I don't want to really go next year and be a legit rookie and have no experience while all these other rookies have played. So that's how I'm looking at it. But also, what have I done in 3 months here and what could I have done for 3 months there? It's a lot more. So that's how I see it. And I need to gain experience in the UK playing golf, where to eat, where to stay, you know, all those things.
And how much do you think you're going to sort of have to adapt, like your ball flights? Obviously, you said you do hit it quite high. Are you like working on shots at the moment to sort of like bump and runs and things like that to sort of go there better equipped, or are you?
Yeah, it's something we work on generally.
Yeah.
I do hit the ball high, but I hit it far as well. So when I do hit it high in the wind, it doesn't matter because it's the same distance as the other girls, for example. Which some would say is taking your advantage away, but that's just how I play the game. That's my personal aspect of it. But yeah, definitely, I'm a much better player in the wind now. It's not a negative thing for me anymore. It's like, oh, the wind's up, cool, let's tackle it. It's not, oh my gosh, there's wind. So it's something we generally practice. I try to practice everything. Weird bunker shots, hitting left-handed, all those things. It's everything you take into consideration. Like I said, when you turn pro, it's all the small things that count, you know. Just because you can't hit a left-handed shot, it might cost you 5 spots. That's how this game works. So yeah, I'm definitely getting better in the wind, but I also need to go there. You know, you can hit as many shots on the range and things like that, but actually going and physically doing it on the course is going to be the difference. But I'm super keen. I mean, like I said, I haven't traveled for a while, so I'm excited to go anywhere at this stage. I see cars in the UK. I mean, in the US at the moment.
In the US,
yeah. That looks nice. I'd like to go there. Maybe there's a few small tours I can go play there. No, I haven't been to the US as well, and the weather might be better. So we're looking at options at this stage. We're not committing to anything just yet, but we'd like to try get there as soon as possible because then the quarantine's over and done, just bite the bullet. And then when you're there, you can at least compete. So if you say you're going there for 6 to 8 weeks to play, and then maybe you're there for 12 weeks because there's more tournaments, you just change your flight up and so on. So it's everything we're looking at. We just, like I said, I like preparing very well when I go there. I don't know exactly what the plan of action and all things are. So I'm working with my managers at the moment to get all that done.
Yeah, it sounds super exciting and cheapers.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive. What a time to be 20 years old.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, you've been super generous with your time. So just a couple of sort of quick fire questions, and then we'll let you get on with your
Sure.
evening. So obviously you mentioned that you're big into like food and nutrition and stuff. So do you have like a go-to breakfast to like a good way that you found helps you start the day off on the right foot?
Oh, I love eggs. Eggs are my best friend. So in the morning, I eat 8 egg whites with some spinach and some mushrooms and some avo. So that's my go-to breakfast. I had that for breakfast this morning.
Quality. And your favorite Sunshine Ladies Tour event on the schedule?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Glendower one was my favorite this year.
Okay.
But I enjoy Soweto and I enjoy SA Open. I don't know. I also really enjoyed Sun City because we used to have the event and then it wasn't at Sun City anymore. And now they moved it back there. So it's a tough one. I like them all.
You know, what's great is not only do you and Ivana both hit the ball far, you also can't commit to an answer because she literally went through the entire schedule as well.
I'll go with Glendower. I'm going to pick and say Glendower.
Okay, cool. That's cool that we've got a definitive answer. It must be quite weird. Like he's starting in the fairway, and it's like, was it 165? Was it 167? No, it could actually be 166. It must be yeah, must be interesting. But
the problem is once I've committed, it's hard to change my mind after that.
Yeah. So, which one of those would you most like to win?
SA Open.
Okay, well, I suppose it probably comes with a Euro exemption of some sort, I'm sure. Must
yeah,
be.
And lots of money.
Yeah, it's all about the cash at the end of the day. Hey?
No, that's just a huge bonus. But also, I think it's such a prestigious tournament for ladies golf in South Africa, and the fact that the ladies European Tour have joined is so awesome. So I think that's like a really cool one that you'd want.
Yeah, no, it's epic to see how the Sunshine Ladies Tour is growing and starting to expand, and there's more money
really cool.
pumped into it now, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then finally, do you have any superstitions either pre-round or during the round?
I do, but I've tackled it now. But I'm going to tell you what it is, anyways. So I'm sure everyone knows you get those plastic tees with the different colors on top. You get the pink and the green and the blue.
Yeah.
So I used to use those because they don't break and you can find them. They're bright, but green goes right and pink goes left. So now I only use white tees. Like I will not use a different color, even if the whole peg is yellow or the whole peg at white only. Has to be. Otherwise.
And you say you've worked through that now?
Yeah, I just got rid of those tees and bought white ones only.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying you'd sort of got over that superstition and you were fine now. You could. Oh, okay.
White pigs only. So whoever makes white pigs, don't stop making them, please.
Well, it sounds like you've got super supportive sponsors, so I'm sure they'll sort you out. I mean, I know Strixon punted this conversation quite a bit, so many thanks to Strixon for their support as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, so now the shameless self-promotion part. Where can people follow you on social media?
So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Everything is Cas_golf. On Facebook, it's Casandra Hall, so you can find me there. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm probably the most active on there. I post quite often. Also do a lot of Strixon giveaways, so definitely tune in for that. And it was great speaking to you guys. Also just wanted to say huge thanks to Strixon for all their support. They really have been the best. I've been with them for a few years now. They've been sponsoring me since I was an AMI going into pro, and they're just getting better and better as it goes. So thank you to Louise and her team for all their support.
Yeah, that's epic, guys. And thank you so much for tuning in as well, guys. And give us a follow. Take us from 56 follows on Instagram to 60 at freedrop_podcast and on Facebook at freedropblog. Very keen to try and give the next generation of female talent in golf as much exposure as possible. And just super cool to sort of tap into. I mean, everyone I've interviewed has been so much fun. Between yourself, Ivana, and Cara, you guys are very, very cool to chat to. So thank you so much for making the time.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I also really enjoyed it. And yeah, definitely, guys, give him a follow and stay up to date with everything. Women's Wednesdays.
Yeah, shot. And then we'll definitely have a chat after your first pro win.
Okay, perfect.
Epic. Chat soon, eh?
Thanks so much. Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.